Hi everyone and welcome to another Filmstorm Studios tutorial, and this is our third person characters series, and in this tutorial we're going to cover how to create different camera states to make your player look more dynamic instead of using the same camera angle for everything. So this is where we're up to, and if you press the equip button, which we've set up, you can now run around, and you've also got the swinging animations, and so that's all synced up. But the camera angle stays the same, so we want to make it seem a little bit more interesting. So let's say if we were in equip, and we should make the camera coming closer to her, so it's actually a bit more like interesting to look at. So if we pause it, we can actually split our view, and we'll bring this guy in here, and let's just unpause it. So now you can see that we're viewing, and you can see where the camera's moving around in here. So let's just bring it down to around this level, and let's make an idle position for the camera. So all we're going to do is come in, and we're just going to move the camera forward into an interesting position that we might like the idle to look like. So when she's not using any weapons, we'll have the camera in this angle. So this looks pretty good. So let's create an empty object. And actually, don't even worry about the empty object. We have to copy this transform position. So let's copy, and let's unpause the game. So we'll go back to normal now. So now under camera base, let's create an empty object and call this idle position. Or not even idle, let's call it no weapon. No weapon pos, because she's not going to be using a weapon while the camera's in this state. And now let's right mouse click and paste where the camera should be, and that should be perfect. So now on the start of the game, we're going to create a new FSM, and this is going to be called our camera position management, which is completely different from the follow in the camera base, because the camera base stays in line with the character, so that way when she moves, this is what moves the camera around, and then this look around is what lets us use the mouse to turn and look and move the camera. So then this one, if we open this guy up, this guy is going to be what handles our camera positioning. So let's call this camera idle. So as soon as the game starts, the player is obviously not going to be using a weapon, so let's go to the action browser. And we're just going to say set position, or maybe even an iTween. If you look up iTween, let's say move to. So this will move it nice and smoothly towards that position. So now let's, what are we going to move? We're going to move the main camera, and we're going to move it towards the position of that one we just set up. We can have it 1 second, make sure it's moving itself, and we don't want it to look at, and that should be okay, having that one checked. So let's just see if we press play, if the iTween will move. Alright, so now the camera's moved towards that location. Let me just turn off the state labels. You can actually do this in preferences, and you can turn off show state labels in game view. So now when you press play, the state labels won't show everywhere. So now you can see that it's a bit cleaner. But now you can see we've got a nice idle thing, but we want the camera to animate backwards so you get a bigger view when she's in combat mode. Alrighty, so let's set up that combo. Actually, we'll just jump back in here. And let's go to here, and we're just going to grab that camera again, so we can pull this guy back and get the bigger position. All right, so let's say we want the camera to be around. We want the camera to be around here when she's in our combat stance. So let's just copy this transform, jump out of the play view, just squeeze this down. Let's go back to camera base. Create an empty object, and we're going to call this weapon out pos, and we're going to paste the transform in. So now you can see that this transform is updated up and back from the player like we just did. So now we're going to go back to our camera base and we're going to update our camera position management. So this will take a little bit of work. So now we're going to need a variable. We're going to say, well, two variables. We're going to have two bools. We're going to say is attacking, and is idle. And put them both on inspector so that way we can see. And in this one, we're going to get the FSM bool. And this is what we're going to set up now. So let's just close out of this guy. We're going to go back to our player model into our movement. Alrighty, now which one is handling our combat? Let's have a look. Might be a different state actually. Jumping, weapon system. Alright, this is the one we want. So jump into the weapon system. So this is what handles our weapons. So we've got the idle state, we've got the equip. So this is basically, these ones are our combos. So this is our combos. This is what equips the weapon animation, and then this is the parent to hand. We should probably rename this saying weapon out. So that way we know this is weapon out and this is idle. So in weapon out, let's create a new bool, and this bool will be called is attacking. So this is what our camera is going to get to know that is attacking is set. Is attacking for camera, because we're already using that inspector. And same thing in this guy. Let's just create another one. I'm just going to call this, oh no, is attack. We'll keep that one the same. So let's go back to idle, and we're going to say set bool, set bool value, and the bool value we're going to set is that is attacking for cam, and we're not attacking, so we're going to have this unchecked. Let's copy and paste this guy and make it a tick. So now basically it's going to say yes, it's attacking when the weapon's out, and when it's idle, it's going to go back to normal. So let's jump back to our camera, and here is this one. Oh, that's the wrong one. This guy, the camera idle. Let's just create camera is idle. Perfect. And let's create an event to say to attack positions. And let's drag this guy out, and then we're going to say attacking position, and then we're going to create another event to say back to idle, and then this idle will be idling. So all we're going to do is create another iTween. You can copy and paste these two in here. Notice I copied the FSM bool. Perfect. All right, we're almost done. And we're going to make sure that this position is going to be moving to the weapon out. So put that in there. Perfect. And we're going to go back to the camera idle. Go to FSM bool. And we're going to get, we're actually going to get the player object. So let's drag this guy in. Let's get the weapon system. And we're going to say is attacking for cam. And we're going to store that is attacking. And we're going to say every frame. And we're going to do a bool test. And we're going to see if the is attacking is true. And if it's true, we're going to say to attacking. And we're going to do that every frame. So let's just copy these two. We can actually get rid of this one. It's already set up. Paste this after. And when this one is false, we're going to go back to idle. So now you'll notice when let's make this full screen again. So it starts off and we go into the idle position, and let's go into equip the weapon. So now you'll notice the camera pans back and moves backwards, and we're ready in combat stance. And then let's press the equip button again, and now we'll go back into here. But let's say if we wanted the camera to actually move when the animation is playing, we can just do that quick fix in the player model in our weapon system. And let's actually set the bools when the animation plays. So let's say let's grab this set bool. I'm going to make it start the equip when the animation starts. And when it stops, let's turn it off straight away. So that way it's not waiting for the animator to finish. It's just going to trigger it straight away. So let's press play. All right, so there we go. You do the jump and let's get rid of it. And then you'll notice it goes straight back into it. And we can make that a bit snappier as well. We can always go back to the camera base, jump into the camera pause, and we can always just reduce the time. We can make it 0.5, which will be half the time. All right, and close this guy. So now you'll notice it is a bit snappier. It's pretty cool. And it's looking really nice. So this is how to make the different positions. But now let's say if we're in here and we're in the attacking state, can we press a button and let's say, can we switch the shoulders? So what that means is, do we want to like switch the shoulder from left to right? So if we bring this guy back out here, and you'll notice, I'll drag this a bit bigger, so we're splitting it. So in some shooter games, you might see the camera is more on this side, and if you press the shoulder button, it will switch to this side. So let me show you how to quickly set that up. Let's actually create two positions, one on the right and one on the left. So let's say this weapon out position is our right position. So let's come back here, let's set this up. And let's actually, for the purpose of this tutorial, let's make this position around here. So let's just copy this guy. So all I did was move that weapon out position to the right a bit. So now you'll notice when I press play, the camera comes more to the right, just so you'll see a bigger difference when we actually shift shoulders. All right, so now let's go in and just duplicate this guy. We're going to call this the left. And let's call this guy the right, so that way we know which one's which. And left, we're going to move to her left side. And let's just go into Edit, Project Settings, Input, and we're going to set up a new shoulder switcher. I don't want 21,000. 2, 1, that's all I want. All right. And let's make this button. Let's just make it something like change cam. Let's just call the actual button change cam. And the button, let's just call it, I don't know, 3. Let's make it a positive button of 3. Perfect. That will do the trick. So whenever we press 3, we're going to switch the shoulder. Let's go back to the camera base, jump into the camera position management. And we're going to do the work under this attacking pause. So all we're going to do is just create another event, and let's say to left, and let's make another one called to right, and pop to left under here, and let's just finish setting this guy up. I'm going to say get button down, and like we made before, we're going to say change cam, and that event, when we press that 3, we're going to send the event to the left. So all we're going to do, let's copy this guy now. And we're going to say attacking pause left. We can rename this guy now to attacking pause right, so that way we know which one's which. Let's change this event to right. Pop this guy back in here. We can even pop this guy back here, so if we press unequip, it will still go back. And let's connect to left to the left one, and let's go into this right, and let's make this guy the left, and get the button down when you're in left to right. So basically you're just switching everything. So theoretically, when we come into here now, let's go and press play. So let's go into the weapon mode. All right, we're in the left, now let's press to the right, and we've switched the shoulders. Look at that. And of course, switching shoulders should be a bit more snappier than other things. So we can even reduce this to like 0.1. So it's going to be like a very quick transition. So let's turn this guy off. Perfect. E. And let's press 3. And now you can see we've created a really simple switching shoulder system. So say if we were up against this corner, you couldn't really see what was around the other side. But if you press 3, now you can really see around, but your character still be in the same position. So it's just a little game design trick that works quite well. Alrighty guys, so this has been a camera switching and setting position tutorial. I hope you found this interesting. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always find me on my channel. You can always leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. Or you can always visit filmstorm.net and download some free assets, or maybe drop a couple of dollars and purchase a couple of systems I've created, or even get some of the animations that you see in these packs. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial.